Hey, good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? I got something called a pink lemonade lemon. I don't know. It seems interesting. I'm going to give it a go. On the TV and the phone? Oh, that sounds like too much, Sasha. I don't know about all that, babe. I'm good. How are you, Alyssa? Good morning, everybody. I don't know how these are going to taste, but we're going to give it a try, right? No such thing. I'll just turn the TV sound off. That's fair. That makes sense. No double sound. No double sound. I thought that lemon was a biscuit because my friends... Oh, that's funny. No, it was definitely a lemon. That would be a weird thing to put in my water. Biscuit water? Like, I know... Are we going to talk about water talk? Good morning from South Carolina. Good morning to South Carolina. Hey, Liz, what's up? I think a biscuit would be taking it too far to put in my water. Just a little too far. Just a little too far, you know? Okay. How is everybody? What's everyone drinking this morning? How is this? Let's see. I feel like the pink lemonade lemon doesn't taste that different. Everything went okay with my sister last night. There's no baby. We have no baby. I mean, yet anyway. Obviously, he'll be here soon, but he did not come early. If anyone who was on my live last night and might be concerned about the early arrival of my nephew, he did not decide to show up early. He is not here. He is still squarely in his mother's womb. So that's where he is. For all. Have you heard from Anya? I haven't heard from Anya. Is everything okay? Did she lose power again or something? What's going on? I have no idea. She just disappeared. That's weird. I don't know. It's very odd. All right, bye, Alyssa. See you later. All right. I don't know. What's everyone else drinking this morning? Do you have a pretty fruit? Maybe. I can't think of which ones you would consider pretty. I had a pink lemon. Does that count? Pink lemonade lemon, that's what they called it. Coffee. Oh, you like my fridge. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're drinking water. Hey, Becca, good job. Is anyone weirded out by the fact that I'm still wearing a Christmas sweatshirt in April? Do we think I'll ever stop wearing this? Or do we think that we'll get back around to Christmas and I'll still be wearing this outfit that I spent $5 for? I bought this entire sweatsuit for literally $5.99 and I've gotten so much use out of it. It's like the highest usage of any item for $5 that I've ever had. Because, I mean, y'all see it all the time. You know how much I wear it. Good morning, Abby. I'm making myself an extra shot today since I was on baby watch until 11:30 last night. No, big kids are going to wear Halloween shirts today. Yeah, I mean, Zoe wears Halloween shirts all the time. I feel like it's different when it's little kids, though. Morning. Yeah, I was on baby watch at their house until late last night, so I am making myself a coffee with an extra shot because I deserve it. I deserve it. You know? Can I say something super controversial? Halloween and Christmas are a lifestyle. They're my two holidays. I want to say something just a smidge controversial. We're all kids. Some of us have just been around longer than others. You right. Currently wearing my favorite Christmas shirt. Yes, Ashley. High five. Virtual high five for Ashley. Thank you. I appreciate your support. The controversial thing that I wanted to say was when I jump, literally, like I jumped off live yesterday, to go do things for my sister or Zoe or whatever, I always get a barrage of very sweet comments and texts from friends, both online friends and friends that I met through non-online means, and also from followers and like whatever like that. And all of the comments that I get are, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. You're the best sister ever. You're like, wow, you're so good, or whatever. And I always respond and I'm like, what? And they're like, you get the best sister award for today. And I'm like, wouldn't you do the same thing? Like, I feel like what I'm doing is not that special. Like, she lives 3 minutes away. I got in the car and drove 3 minutes and sat with her baby. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't feel to me like an above and beyond thing to do. I don't know. But so many people say it. So I'm like, are the rest of the moms out there not receiving this kind of support from their families is what I'm wondering. Yeah, especially if you live that close. Exactly. See, Liz and Abby are saying it. That's what I thought. Hey, good morning, darling. I thought that anyone would do. So I always respond to people and I'm like, it's fine. Like, I'm not special. Like, I just love my family. And she lives 20 minutes away. Yeah, I would have gone if she lived 20 minutes away too. She just happens to not. I bought a house 3 minutes away from them on purpose because I'm a lunatic. It's amazing how little effort people would put in. I agree. It is amazing how little effort people will put into their families. And, you know, I mean, like, obviously my brother and sister-in-law live 3,000 miles away. So when it comes time for them to have a baby, it's going to be a little different, right? They're not just going to be able to call and have us pop over. But that's because they live 3,000 miles away. However, will we be on our phones waiting on bated breath to hear what happens? Yeah, like obvi. If they lived in the same vicinity, would we all go? Yeah, totally. But 3,000 miles is just too much. Hey, Shandy, yesterday was false labor. You know what I mean? So, you know, if my sister-in-law was like really having a baby, would we probably, my sister's picking up groceries for me and signing. Yeah, exactly, Becca. So I don't know. I just wanted to say that, like, if you're a mom who doesn't have a supportive family, definitely find a supportive group like us, you know? No baby yet. Let me just go put these down. I'll be right back for the phone. Give me 2 seconds. Hey, Shelly. When my sister gave birth to my nephew, I literally didn't sleep waiting for the news. I know. Well, last night, I was going to start sleeping with my phone on sound last night. I usually sleep with my phone on silent. But your birthday was 3 days ago. Well, happy birthday. I think Elizabeth has the same issue of guilt as you. She missed the beginning of Max's life. Yeah, I definitely have a lot of guilt about that. But it wasn't on purpose. Hey, Haley. It did hurt, but like freaking 2020, man. What was I supposed to do? So we were going to start having me sleep with my phone on sound last night in case he like decided to come at random so that they could have me come over. But then when I left their house last night, they were like, don't bother. We talked to the doctor. They said it's not even close. Like, don't stress. We'll know during a daytime if it's like when she starts having her appointments and they tell her like how dilated she is and all of that. She's like nothing right now. So they were like, don't sleep with your phone on sound tonight. I was like, oh, okay. So at least that's good. We know that she's like not even close. So yeah, I don't know. That's all I wanted to say was if you're a mom who doesn't have a lot of support, definitely find a group like this, because we have a lot of supportive moms and aunts and whatever in our group. Are you going to make slime today? Hey, darling Tess. Did you see the little note that popped up when you came into the live? There's a note that said this is book club coffee time. If you're looking for slime, you can come back later today. That's what the note said when you came in. So here's something, anyone who's here looking for slime, it's super important to read those things. You were dilated for 6 weeks. Oh my gosh. I put a little note that pops up anytime you join the live. And if you read that, you'll always hear what we're doing and you'll always hear, what's going on and stuff like that. 6 weeks. How could that even be possible? Is that even, I've never heard that before. What happened, Amanda? What was that? I don't know. Anyway, that is where we are at. Don't even get me started. It sounds truly, truly awful. Can you mix the smoothie blends? Yes, I will. Whichever things got the most, not 6 weeks. I was a 6 for, oh. How many weeks? Do I even want to know? Is it going to scare me? Yeah. Is it going to scare me to know? Do I not want to know? Morning, Elizabeth. Okay, so for anyone who wasn't here yesterday, we started Wasteland, which is the second installment of John's Phoenix Cycle series. It's a heavy, heavy, heavy book. We got through 4 little chapters yesterday, and we're going to read some more today. A 6 for more than a few hours is a lot. Yikes, really? I don't even want to know. It was about 3 weeks before she decided to... Oh my gosh. Wow. Y'all are giving me horror stories. I don't know, man. I don't know about all these horror stories. Take that to the birthing horror story chat. Don't be scaring those of us who haven't had kids yet unless you don't want us to reproduce. Do you want no more little Sashas in the world? Keep telling these stories. Hey, Renee. That was Max too. Sunny side up and got wedged. Sunny side up. Matt, I still had 2 more after her. Yeah. All right. So it couldn't have been that bad, right? Or what I've been told is that you forget all of this stuff. Like you see the baby and you're like, oh man, they're so cute. Let me have another one. And then you're like, crap, this isn't horror, but okay. Oh God, I want little Sashas. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a little Sasha. Maybe there won't. Good thing I'm not having them. Yeah. Right. Seriously. Anyway, we're reading John's book today and let's get into it. We are on chapter 5. All right. Jericho, he said, as if he just bumped into an old friend he hadn't seen for a while. I'm so glad to see you're doing well. I was a little surprised by how young the guy was. I always thought you had to be over 70, have crazy hair, and wear a white lab coat to qualify as a mad scientist. The man before me couldn't have been a day over 35 and had amazing, killer flaxen brown hair that reached down to his shoulders. And here I was, strapped to a bed with vampire skin, robot limbs, ghost form, and if I hadn't already mentioned it, I was rocking a buzz cut. When I say that I was a little ticked at the sight of Dr. Triathlon showing up like a tone tan model wearing glasses and looking awesome in a lab coat, you can be assured that I was indeed ticked. Oh yeah, he was also very American. I remained silent. No doubt you have questions, he started, checking a hollow tab on his wrist. He must have caught me looking at it and decided to enlighten me. This connects all the citizens of Flagstaff to the HoloNet, a nasty business when you're trying to flee the country, but not a bad gadget to have if you're planning on actually obeying the laws of the land, I suppose.
He held his right arm above me so that I could see a small floating screen. It seemed to be level with his forearm, X-raying me. The picture was backwards to me, but I could still see the sinews and metal in my... Geez, not my leg, too, I groaned. Afraid so, Jericho, Dr. Cross said. You were quite a mess. Then why waste 3 years fixing me? Cross stopped his X-ray and turned his face towards me, cocking his head slightly to the side. Who told you it's been 3 years? I forgot that Ritu told me to keep our secret conversation on the down low. I'm not stupid, was my reply. No. You most certainly aren't stupid, Cross said, smiling good-naturedly. Your body seems strong enough. Let's see if you can walk. Then he tapped a few buttons on his holotab, and I felt the vice holding my head in place disappear into the bed, and my wrists and legs were loosened. I was free. In less than a second, I had the mad scientist supermodel pinned against the wall across the room, my robot forearm at his throat. 3 years, I shouted into his face. I was tied to a bed for 3 years, you maniac. You actually thought I'd sit up and shake your hand and go take a shower? He coughed, struggling against me, which was frighteningly fruitless because I was felt like pinning a 5-year-old against the wall and not actually a grown man. You weren't ready, he wheezed. What was that, Doc? I spat, pushing harder with my arm and lifting him off the floor. I'm afraid I can't hear you over the sound of your latest science project killing you. And then I dropped him, and he gasped, crumbling onto the floor. Show's over, pal, I said, dusting off my hands. I'm going to go mug one of your lackeys for a change of clothes, and I'll be on my way. I couldn't release you, Cross gasped, grabbing at a desk to help him to his feet. Why? I said you weren't ready, Jericho. As much as I pride myself in my studies, I couldn't fix you in a day. He rubbed at the red mark on the left of his neck. Since killing doesn't seem hard for you, I suppose my tests involving you touching your nose and writing your name aren't necessary anymore. The first right thing you've said yet, I told him, glancing around the room. I've got to say, standing in a diaper isn't making me feel menacing at the moment. Dr. Cross laughed at that, surprising me since I just, almost killed him. Chloe Sparks was right when she said you were just full of those. I stared at him for an explanation. When he finally got a rein on his chuckles and saw my stare, he said, From your memoir, I took the liberty of listening to the account that you'd recorded on the first gauntlet. I absent-mindedly looked at my forearm, the one that I wore the gauntlet on. Was my old arm still... Yes, Cross confirmed. It took a few days to get all the pieces out, actually. Gross. Chloe's dead, I said, flexing my new hand and listening to the sound of the gyrating gears. I know. We found her body not far from what was left of yours, he said, walking past me and through the doorway. Come on, let's find you some clothes. Then why not save both of us? I asked, following him into the hallway and towards the elevator at the end of the hall. I'll explain everything in a minute. Wait, wasn't I supposed to be raining vengeance and mayhem down on the heads of these ne'er-do-wells? Wasn't it Cross's normalcy that was stopping me? I tried to imagine him looking like Dr. Wily from Mega Man, and I would have finished the job of offing him in my room as we passed a few women in lab coats and they gawked at me in my loincloth. They were still staring at us as the door began closing. I think it's been a minute, I told Dr. Cross, glancing out the thick glass elevator and seeing the floors pass by with many other white lab-coated individuals working on them. Taking away all the lies I could spin to keep my head attached to my shoulders, I just didn't have enough resources to save both of you, he said, not looking at me. What about Beck? I asked him. We reached the top floor and the doors slid open. Stepping into the carpeted hall, he said, It's because of Beck that I didn't have the resources to save both of you. I followed him in silence, lost in thoughts about Chloe and her sarcastic robot sister, the latter without much fondness. We entered his office, and he showed me to a large, nice lavatory. We were talking walk-in shower, spa, spaceship toilet, and lots of other futuristic stuff that I didn't recognize. I don't know if you've ever had the opportunity to go 3 years without a shower. Let's hope you haven't ever died and been brought back to life and strapped to a bed for almost 1,095 days, but it gets kind of grimy in a feeling that I just can't describe. Just know it's nasty. The shower was amazing, by the way. The only clothes laid out on the counter of the lavatory were a dark gray leather jumpsuit that looked like a male version of what Chloe used to wear, complete with the lightweight gray combat boots. The only addition to the outfit was a long, black, form-fitting, hooded wool coat that reached a little below my knees. I looked at myself in the full-length mirror once I'd put on the comfortable outfit, slipping on the matching thin black gloves. It was odd to go from basically naked science project to the action figure-worthy man looking back at me in the mirror. I stood there for a moment and pulled on the black hood before instantly pushing it back off my head and removing the gloves too. It looked ridiculous to have them on inside a warm bathroom. "Please tell me that the kids are dressing like this nowadays," I said as I stepped out of the lavatory. Dr. Cross was on his hollow tab again, and he glanced up at me. "Certainly hope not," he said, stepping out from behind his desk. "That's top secret material you're wearing, Jericho." Lots of bells and whistles. I walked past him to the large window/wall that looked out over what I was guessing was Flagstaff. I was just what kind of a gig are you running here, man? I already know about the mad scientist branch. I nodded to the shrouded city. Tell me what they all think you do. Cross removed his lab coat, dropping it over his desk chair and leaning against his large desk, crossing his arms. "Generally, they all know what I do," he said. "Not to sound too high and mighty, but my research has saved the city countless times." "So that gives you a pass and they just leave you to your own devices?" I said. "Mostly. Don't take this the wrong way, Cross, but you don't exactly seem like the scientist type," I told him, slipping my hands into the pockets of my long coat. "The medical field will never lack for great minds in my time. I'm well known simply because I took risks no one else was willing to take, and I, as well as millions of other people, have thrived from it." "Risks like Beck?" I asked, turning to face him. "A little bird told me folks like Beck and I are illegal around these parts." I was basically throwing all the knowledge that Chloe had bestowed upon me back in his face. She told me that any tests or research that had to do with grafting synthetic parts to a human spinal column were illegalized by what little authorities were left. "As you stated, most people leave me alone." "As you've stated, most people leave me alone," Cross said, walking out to peer over the window himself. "And as for Beck, you're not nearly as unstable as she is due to your being 28% to synthetic to her 88%. Not to mention the brain cells you removed so that her body wouldn't reject the grafting process on her spine." It was all there, one of the last conversations that I'd had with Chloe about her obnoxious sister. "Beck is my sister, Jericho, but that doesn't change the fact that she wasn't supposed to be like this. No one is," she told me on the catwalk beside the rebel base. "That's the reason the cells grow back in the first place. The brain knows that the spine is being violated and tries to purge it." Morning. I explained the process to Cross, who watched me closely with fascination as I told him word for word what Chloe had told me, except I made it seem like I just knew that kind of robot talk to make him nervous. "All true facts," Cross said once I'd finished my lecture, explained like a man who received a master's degree in teaching at the age of 21. Sighing, he put his hands on his back. "Beck's been a problem ever since she escaped into the world." "Is she still around?" "Very much so. She's a sort of figurehead for the rebels now, as a matter of fact." He glanced at me. "You should also know that your Viking girlfriend is still alive. As far as we can tell by the attacks on the city and just from hearsay, she aids Beck in her assaults and leads most of them." Piper. I couldn't think of her then. I almost began crying at the thought of her still being alive and for being stuck in a strange future away from her home because of me. So I kept the subject on track. "Why'd you make Beck in the first place if you knew she'd turn into what she is now?" It was hard to read his facial features as he looked back over the city and said, "I did it for a grieving father who happened to be one of my closest friends." Atrium Sparks. I'd forgotten about him. "How is Dr. Sparks these days?" I asked. "Dead," Dr. Cross said, sighing. "Klaus had him killed minutes after you and Chloe left his lab, once he'd gotten information out of him." "I just got back from my 6 a.m. wrist MRI. Wasn't bad. Results take a week." Takes a week? That's crazy. And it's at 6 a.m.? Why is it at 6 a.m.? That's wild. I wasn't expecting that, and my heart sank. "How's the city faring since the bombing?" I asked, changing the subject away from Chloe and her father. "Surprisingly well," Cross said. "You may find that this is hard to believe, but Klaus wasn't exactly the most popular among the citizens of Flagstaff, and not because he wasn't the best company at social functions, if you know what I mean. All in all, it's been a good thing that he's dead." "Kaiser? Yeah, we have Kaiser too. Yeah, that's where my sister was last night." "So when do I go home?" I asked, knowing what the answer would be. "To Chicago?" Dr. Cross said, walking back to his desk. That may prove to be quite a lot the obstacle, since your only ticket home was basically destroyed in the explosion. Reaching into his top desk drawer, he produced the gauntlet. The gauntlet. My baby. Doesn't look destroyed to me, I said, approaching him and accepting it from his outstretched hand. Well, it's still in one piece, but the element 0 inside of it is depleted, he answered, looking annoyed. Atrium was the genius on all time travel things and was also very secretive about it. I've gone through his old files and notes several times, but there wasn't any mention of any more element Z being found, nor how it worked. I suppose he decided that knowledge was best left in his brain. I could tell Cross wasn't thrilled about the fact that all Atrium's data was basically useless now that he was dead. And not to keep bringing the story back to, well, me, but I wasn't digging the no time travel thing either. Looks like we won't be eating sushi tacos anytime soon, I said, handing the dead glove back to him. Let's talk about me being your science project. All right. So, we just learned a whole lot of stuff, you know? We just learned a whole lot of stuff. Remind Catherine to bring a full-size towel to Kaiser if she wants to shower after. Yeah, no, she knows because she did it before with Zoe. She has a whole bag packed and everything. They only had hand towels when I gave birth at that location. What location? You might be at a different location, though. I don't think you're... I know you're close to us, but I don't think you're down in South OC, are you? Aren't you in Northern OC, or did I imagine that? I think there's two, right? Oh, you are? Huh. I didn't know. Well, dang. I guess you did go to the same one. There you go. All right. Well, she does have a bag packed. Yeah. She has a whole kit and caboodle of stuff. Oh, you picked it. Okay. I was going to say, I could have sworn that I saw your address. I didn't mean for that to sound creepy. I see everybody's address because of work. Yeah. That makes sense. Oh, I forgot to put my watch on this morning. Does anyone know what time it is? I don't know what's going on. I forgot to put my watch on. Oh. Creeper! You understood me. It's 7:24 for you. Okay, great. I was going to say, I swear you live by me. Yeah, I thought she did too, but yeah, that makes sense. Let me see how long chapter 6 is. It's not that long. We can definitely read chapter 6. You should still be in bed, ma'am. No, we're up and at 'em. We got stuff to do today. Because my whole thing was derailed making slime last night, I was stuck with Zoe. I have extra slime to make today. You know, I was at their house till 11. I got extra work to do today. And, not for nothing, I have to go over to their house for like 3 or 4 hours this afternoon. They're not coming this morning because I'm going over there during nap because Catherine needs help building some of the furniture for the baby room, and then she wants me to decorate the baby room. We had always planned that it would be today. Well, not always, but like for a couple of weeks, it's been planned to be today for me to decorate the baby room, but I didn't know I was going to also be building furniture. Let me tell you all, we need truss up in here because I am not good at building furniture, but that's also going to take a chunk out of my work day that I'm going to be over there like making stuff and doing stuff. So, yeah. Surprise, you're building a changing table. I'm not really good at building stuff, you guys. Oh, you're seriously the best sister. I did the same stuff for my sisters an hour away. Oof, yeah, see? Is Zoe excited? Honestly, I don't have a tool belt. I don't know if Zoe really understands, but last night I think freaked her out a little because she saw her mom on the phone pacing, and I think it gave her a little bit of anxiety about the situation. But I went up and I rocked her to sleep, and then she went to bed okay. But she was going through, she had a really rough time getting to sleep last night. Want James to help build. He's the best at that. Let's see how this goes. I think I only have to build just a changing table. Let's see how it goes. And then if I can't do it, then we will call him. I'll send Deborah. She builds stuff without a kit. Well, show off. I can't even build stuff with a kit. Catherine said, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's just a changing table because I saw the crib last night. So I'm not building a crib. The reason she said she trusts me to build the changing table is because you don't leave a baby unattended on a changing table. She said I wouldn't let you build the crib, but a changing table is fine. I was like, thanks for the vote of confidence, sis. Hey. I know what she was saying, but it's still pretty funny. I did not build the crib. Her father-in-law built the crib. He is really handy. I don't know why he's not building this, actually. It is so Catherine, though. It really is. But why is he not building this? Her father-in-law hung the TV in my house. He renovates Morning Tiffany, all the things for everybody. He even does stuff for me, and he's not even related to me. Why is he not building this? He must be working. He must be busy or something. And she's just like freaking out and wants it done. That's the only explanation, because her father-in-law is handy dandy. His name's not Dan, but that would have been funny, right? Would have been funny if his name was Dan and he was handy dandy. Anyway, let's read the next chapter. You got to send us pictures, Becca. All right, let's read chapter 6. Maybe we will get the Russian accent again. Who's ready for another day of Russian accents? Let's see if Ritu shows up. Once I was seated at his desk, Dr. Cross went back to the enormous window that also doubled as a touchscreen PowerPoint, which he decided to employ to aid his argument of, well, I'm not really sure what. So I just leaned back in his comfortable chair and listened to what he had to say. What makes our bodies work, Jericho? He asked, swiping his hand across the large screen so multiple items popped up showing different parts of the human anatomy. Shrugging, I said, heart, lungs, brain, I don't know, take your pick. All three are needed, yes, but what makes the heart, lungs, and brain work? Listen, if you've been preparing for this for the last 3 years, I think that I would actually participate in Mad Scientist 101 for extra credit if you're mistaken. You're mistaken, I told him. Fair enough, Cross said. Turning back to his presentation, blood was the answer. He stopped and then he saw my hand go up. Yes? You just discovered that blood makes our bodies work? I thought you would have appreciated the summed up version, he said. Then, by all means, sum away, Doc. I like to think that blood is fuel, he said. And the screen portrayed a lot of science mumbo-jumbo, no doubt backing up what he was saying. In short, I've been able to create what you would call a supreme variety of common blood. I frowned at that. Go on. Atrium explained that Z90 to you... The Atrium explained the Z90 to you when you first met him, but he failed to mention that he and I made a discovery together having the stockpile. And when he was working on his time travel theory, I was in Anchorage studying various applications of the new element. I frowned. No, the good Dr. Sparks had indeed left out that little tidbit. I had known that he and Dr. Cross had been science chums in the past, but that was it. I called it what it is, Z90. Cross said, as more pictures and graphs appeared on the screen. We eat food, our bodies break down the food, and eventually the body parts are sectioned out to be used for whatever, the good parts are sectioned out to be used for whatever our bodies think it needs the most. If a host has a full tank of Z90, then the same liter as a normal amount of person over the 50% blood count is composed of white cells compared to the regular 1%. That's impossible, I said, shaking my head. So is time travel, my friend, Cross said, and yet, here you are. How does having awesome immune system benefit anyone besides not having to get a flu shot every year? I asked in a bored tone. I confess the reason behind making over half the blood count white cells at first was combated by the other half filling the host, which is where the Z90 comes in. More graphs flashed across the screen. Have you ever known anyone who has low blood sugar problems? Dated one, I told him. She ate me out of protein bars at home. The first test trial of Z90s were a version of that, I suppose you could say, he told me. All hosts transfer with what went to an instant irreversible coma, which puts me back to the drawing board. I narrowed my eyes at his back since he was facing his high-tech chalkboard, and he was full swing into his lecture. He seemed a little too cavalier when mentioning folks being placed into irreversible comas by his research. That's when I added the white blood cell count, which worked for a time. You mean no one died from it, I corrected. Sighing, Cross said, if only that were true. Geez, Doc, how many people have died in the name of science around here? Most were convicted criminals or deserters bound for the incineration, as it was, Jericho, he said, turning to me. Z90 could have changed the course of humanity, saving millions of people. And killing off the condemned in search of a greater good doesn't make you lose sleep? I asked. Not in the least, he answered, and I could tell he meant it. Well, of course it doesn't, I said, leaning back to the desk chair. You said Z90 could have saved millions? What went wrong? Cross turned away from the window, and the entire context backing his argument vanished. I noticed that it had started snowing outside the thick glass. After a few years of searching for a way to make a clean transfusion, I finally stumbled onto the reason that none of the tests would take. Let me guess. God finally got tired of other people playing in his role in the universe and vaporized all of your research with a lightning bolt? I said sarcastically. I suppose future generations could see it that way if they chose, he said, removing his glasses and rubbing at his eyes. He looked way older just then for some reason. But it wasn't quite as lofty. In the end, it turned out that no one on the planet could be a perfect host because of the slight change in the atmosphere when nuclear war pushed us a few degrees from the sun. Not only did it bequeath the dawning of a new ice age, but it also unearthed new elements, Z90 being among them. Leaning against the desk, I was looking at the swirling flakes outside as he continued. The change in pressure wasn't noticed by anyone on the planet because it wasn't enough to have us floating like astronauts or jumping hundreds of feet. In short, anyone born after the Earth's shift has grown with too much pressure on their bodies, and somehow it makes a complete transfusion impossible. I took in everything he was telling me, and I finally saw where his entire monologue was heading. So, to have a good, complete host, you've got to get someone from before the nukes went off. He nodded. I get it, I muttered, standing. Is this the part where you ask me if I'll be your precious host since I can't go home with everyone I cared about because they're dead? Except for Piper. The Viking girl of my dreams was still alive and well. Well, I'm afraid that you're already the host, Jericho. Wait, what? You weren't exactly in the most talkative of moods when pulling your burning remains from what was left of Klaus's building. After a year of doing everything I could, I had to infuse you with Z90 to keep you alive. Level-headed, Jericho. Be level-headed. Brilliant presentation, Dr. Cross, I told him in my calmest voice. But if I may, you somehow didn't mention what it is this Z90 stuff of yours actually does, besides keeping me infinitely current on my shots. Cross was watching me. I think he saw that I was a little more agitated and possibly might have been afraid that I would kill him. Well, that's just it, Jericho. I have my theories, but I don't know how much of what it does because no one housing it has lived more than 2 days. But you. His eyes were glassy then, and not because of his glasses. Cross had finally shown me his mad scientist stare. I'd seen Chloe's dad give me the same look when he was explaining Element Zero to me, and I'd witnessed it countless times in movies. You're the first and only host for Z90 ever in existence. Beck was born after the event, so the fact that she's even still alive is a wonder, and she could never wield the power I believe you can. I know that my theories show on paper that it's supposed to be able to do, and someone housing it has got the potential to become, as far as I've gotten, and I know what they're supposed to be able to come, but that's as far as I've gotten. I honestly don't even know what you're capable of. Sorry, I read that comment at the same time as that. No, she did not have her baby. No baby. No baby. We don't have a baby yet. No baby. Baby Watch 2023 continues. I had known something was different from the first punch that I threw him when the first time I threw him against the wall. I can't describe the feeling of just knowing that you can do something that's considered impossible, but that's the way I felt. I truly felt like I could jump 20 feet in the air and maybe even do 2 backflips before I landed. No, it's a good thing, Cheyenne. It's a good thing. We don't want him to come early. It's good that he's not here yet. Cross may not have known what I was capable of, but I sure did. I was thinking of my ghost mode when Cross made his final plea. I've had my best men and women in the field the past 3 years looking for more Element Zero to power the glove and keep my research up to date, and I'm going to keep them there until I find some, however long it takes, he said. Until then, you can't go home, and I can't get another person willing to become the host for Z90. All I ask is that you stay for a month or 2, just long enough for us to see what you can do, and then you can go looking for a way home yourself if you choose. I won't stop you. You couldn't stop me now, I said. I know. Cross said sincerely. That's why I'm simply asking. Whether you like it or not, fate has chosen you to be the first of a superhuman race that could one day fix this godforsaken planet. He did make a good point, and here I thought that I was already superhuman for traveling through time. I'll stay on one condition. Cross looked at me hopefully, pointing to the window as I said, we do the first test outside. All right. All right. What's the time? Sorry, I forgot my watch. Does anyone know the time? We did not get a Russian accent in that chapter. I'm sorely disappointed. Sorely disappointed to not have a Russian accent in that chapter. It's been two Americans. Two American dudes, no less. Didn't even get to put on a girl voice. No Russian accent, no girls. Just two American bras. Bros, not bras. Okay, we can read one more, I think. I think this is, let's see how long this chapter is. Yeah, we can read the next chapter. All right. Will we get a Russian in this chapter, friends? Anyone want to vote in the comments of whether we will see a Russian in this chapter? Or a female? Bruh. Hey. We are reading a book. We sure are. All right. Chapter 7. We do get a Russian. First sentence is a Russian. Yes. Are we ready? Are we ready? I'm ready. I was born for this. My name is Sasha. I was born for Russian accents. One moment, please. I'm still regaining my voice, but I think I can do it. Try to keep your head down as much as possible, Jericho. Ritu told me through. Well, I'm not actually sure what she was telling me through, because ever since Cross had given me my very own tab on the HoloNet, not an easy thing to do, he told me, because I wasn't a newborn infant, I didn't need an earpiece, and most incoming calls were directed to my mind somehow. Checking the map on the HoloTab floating above my wrist, I saw that I was the only living thing within a mile radius that wasn't dumb enough to step out for a run through the snow-covered streets of Flagstaff. That was dumb enough. Jericho is the main character in the book. The 4x6-inch screen also let me know that winter was indeed upon us by informing me that it was almost minus 60 degrees. Why should I? I asked Ritu, glancing around the abandoned skyscrapers riddled through the decaying city. My tab is showing that I'm the only idiot out for a leisurely stroll. You are currently using older model of HoloTab, as that's the only kind Cross could get for you, to fly your account under radar of prying eyes, Ritu informed me. And you would need military-grade holodeck to have infrared scanners' primary use for location targeting. Has anyone ever told you that you're kind of a know-it-all? I asked her, and I began trudging through the streets. The snow was about ankle deep as far as I could see, which wasn't that far, actually, because the snow had begun falling yet again. Does it ever not snow here? The sound keeps going in and out. Oh, okay, yeah, it might be your device, if everyone else's sound is okay. It does not snow too much during summer, Ritu answered. I've seen your so-called summer, Ritu. It's almost 20 below. I could almost hear her shrug as she asked, how does it feel now? Yeah, I had to log off to fix the sound. Oh, that's so annoying. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't exactly know how to answer that, mainly because I felt like I was walking through Palm Beach in the fall instead of a frozen planet that I was on. Is the Z90 making me impervious to the cold? I asked her, skirting around an old bus, because I'm not feeling cold. I heard her tapping away at something before she said, he had few suspicions along those lines, considering what Z90 does to body's molecular structure. The suit you're wearing is more than likely the reason you're feeling so cozy. It was odd to hear her use the word cozy, because the expression didn't fit anything the future had to offer. How's that? I asked, punching the driver's side window of a nearby car with ease and peering inside it. That suit is something Dr. Cross has been working on since before you arrived. He's been really secretive about it, but if I had to assume how it worked, I would say the material somehow uses cold air to power the inner thermal tags placed here and throughout the suit to keep your body at good 98 degrees, even in the most freezing of climates. That's just your assumed version? I laughed. I suppose you could pull off your hood for a second and see if your ears fall off, Ritu said, and I knew she had to be smiling. Nice try, but my ears are my most fetching quality. I'm saving them from one element only to lose them from another would be more than I could handle. Speaking of more than you can handle, said the voice in my head, let's put you through some paces. Is Dr. Cross looking over your shoulder? I asked. No, it is just us. The last time a girl told me that, she turned out to be wrong, and I almost got shot by her father. I saw a hurricane fence almost 50 yards ahead of me, and I instantly ran for it, the gap closing at an alarming rate due to my speed. And then I jumped over an almost 12-foot fence and landed in a crouch on the top of a car. Slowly standing, I looked at my hands. That was awesome. Do you just want me to do a couple of willy-nilly tumbles in the snow, or do you scientists actually have a few tasks you'd like to see me do? This is Dr. Cross, I heard the good doctor's voice buzz in. I think the first thing we need to do is see all of your physical activity since you're already outside. Cross, I said in a good-natured way, are you feeding in live from that serial killer office of yours? You know it, he said. And might I just say that it's great to hear an American voice for a change, I said. All I wanted to do was get a breath of fresh air, so I'm good. What do you guys want me to do? Let's just see how fast you are, Ritu said. And since Cross didn't tell her to shut up, I decided to indulge her. I began by leaping from car to car, landing with ease and not slipping due to whatever Cross had made my boots out of, until I made it to a halfway cleared stretch of road. I rolled my neck once more before bolting down the pavement. I could barely feel the wind on my face, and I didn't know if that was from being a superhero from my suit or just because I wasn't going that fast. In what seemed like a few seconds, I crossed about 2 city blocks before skidding to a halt and spraying snow. How's that? I asked, not even breathing hard. Your top speed was about 25 miles per hour, Ritu told me. That was it? I asked. Usain Bolt's top was rumored to be a little over 27. And then I was off again, kicking up snow in my wake as I tore down the pavement as fast as I thought I possibly could. I didn't stop at the 4-way stop this time, but instead I took a left and began car hopping again, sometimes clearing 4 cars between jumps. When I came to the last car before yet another good stretch of empty street, I put all I could into my last bounce, sickeningly sailing high into the air before landing in a roll and coming back onto my feet, using the momentum for a boost in resuming my sprint. Who is Usain Bolt? Ritu asked. He's about to be dethroned as the fastest man alive, I said, smirking. Any notions I may have felt before about not feeling alive were gone as I felt my speed pick up. I could do anything, and somehow I knew it. Jericho, Ritu said in my ear, that is a dead end. I saw the alleged dead end before she did on her city layout, and then I already laid on my next move for the crumbling 40-story building in my path. Is it? I asked nonchalantly, in mid-dash before leaping into the air and hitting a slanted remains of the building and began climbing. I started off at just a quick climb on the vertical surface of the building, using broken window frames, jutting ironwork, or anything for a handhold. My grip was phenomenal, so I could make anything into a good grab. I felt like I was going too slow for a few seconds of climbing, so I started leaping up the sheer side of the old building and clearing what almost felt like a whole floor with each jump. Powered primarily by a little push from my toes and strong pulls with my arms. I hummed the old Spider-Man theme song as I traversed the wall. Do the Spider-Man theme song in Ritu's accent. Because Jericho would sing the Spider-Man theme song like this. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can, spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. That would be Jericho, right? Like we can figure that that's what Jericho would sound like if he were doing the Spider-Man theme song. But if Ritu knew the Spider-Man theme song, you'd probably go something like this. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever spider can, spins web any size, catch thieves, more like flies, come some kind of flies. I don't know why I find Russian accents so funny. I think they're hilarious, and maybe that's really mean, but I find them very entertaining. I feel like I'm gonna make a video doing that just to post it for John, since he's stuck on the rig and he doesn't know how far we are into the book. So I'm just gonna say this video is dedicated to John and Alan sitting on the boat on the rig right now. This is a dramatic reading of the Spider-Man theme song as done by Ritu. And then do a serious face. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catch thieves just more or less like flies. It's good. It's a great joke even. Okay, I don't know why I find stuff like that so funny. I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't mean to interrupt the book with all of this wildness, but I really had to. Huh. On the last floor, I put all I could into my last leap, pulling into a ball and doing 2 spins before landing on the crumbling rooftop. Snow flying everywhere from the force of my landing, and I still wasn't breathing hard. I felt like I just walked across the kitchen instead of running through and over a city like a madman. How was that? I asked, putting my hands on my hips through habit, because I think the old Jericho must have still been in me somewhere, and felt that running in a climb like that must have been met with doubled over gasps for air. I heard Ritu stammering and struggling for words when Cross chimed in. That was exceptional, Jericho. How do you feel? I feel like I need to get higher, I said, eyeing the mammoth skyscraper beside the cracked apartment complex I was standing on. Ritu, what was my fastest? Almost 50, I heard her say, still not believing it. How were you even able to react fast enough physically at that speed? Shrugging, I said, not sure. I knew I was going fast and it felt that way, but I just knew that I could and needed to do it. It was still hard to believe that for me, a guy who had just done it. No lightheadedness? Cross asked. None. Blurred vision? Mm-mm. Snow count? I think you're ready for the next step then, he said. First, you see that 80-story building on your right? Yeah. Climb it. Smiling, I said, I thought you'd never ask. In about 1 minute, I scaled the skyscraper and was standing on the ledge overlooking Flagstaff. How was that? Great, Cross said. Now can you tell me what you feel would be the best way to get down? I used to tell my kids, this is a Russian space station. Touch nothing, right? Oh my gosh. Oh, that's such a great movie. That's a great movie. Yeah. I frowned at that, not exactly knowing where he was going with this. I mean, I guess I could jump, but would the fall kill me? I heard him laugh before saying, I'm going to say yes, I think it would kill you, but do you think it would? You mean like, do I feel like it would? I corrected. Do you? I peered down. It was a really long way down, but I felt like I could keep going and do anything. I felt like I'd just make a crater and walk away without a scratch, I said finally, but I think jumping wouldn't be the greatest idea. Am I supposed to be invulnerable? Well, I think testing whether or not you're indeed invulnerable by leaping off an 80-story building isn't the best way to find out, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. Well, we now know that I'm a parkour god, so when do we find out how good I am at hurting people? Dr. Cross, Ritu said. Scanners are showing category 7 blizzard heading for city. ETA is exactly 10 minutes. Would you look at that? Cross chuckled. Looks like you've got time now to get back. You've got a limited time now to get back to my building. 50 Hollows says, 50 Hollows says he can't make it back in time. Wait, no. This is a new character. I don't know who this is. 50 Hollows says he can't make it back in time, I heard a man say in the background. I'm guessing it was Ritu's Link. You're on, she said confidently. Come on, Jericho. I split it with you if you hurry. I smiled, releasing my grip and sliding down the tower. Have I told you that I felt awesome? Sweet. This is fun. I enjoy this. I am going to go only because, like I said, I had my entire work day derailed yesterday, and it's kind of getting derailed today too, so I have a lot of work to do today. But we're not, even though we're on baby watch, we aren't worried, so today should be fine. I should be on live tonight making slime. Everything should be good to go. Have a great day, everybody. I will, really quickly before I go to work, record Ritu doing a dramatic reading of the Spider-Man song, and everybody should tag John. Not that he's not going to see it. He sees all my videos because we're friends, but like just tag him just as like a funny thing. Be like, come on, John, your turn. Or like have him do, I don't know. We need to challenge him to do like Jericho's version. Like I don't know. We need something. I'll figure it out. I'll be back, you guys. Bye.